Welcome to the Deep Dive, the place where we cut through the noise to get straight to the financial philosophies that really separate the wealthy from everyone else. Today, we're unpacking a really influential set of ideas about the fundamental rules of money. And our mission for you is simple: to help you grasp the mindset, the definitions, and the strategy you need to shift from, working for money to having money work for you.
It's all about cash flow and literacy, really. And it starts with this central story, the story of the two fathers. You have one, the highly educated dad who always said, study hard, get good grades, get a safe job.
The traditional path.
The traditional path. And then you have the rich father, a high school dropout, but a genius when it came to financial knowledge.
And that conflict is the hook, isn't it? I mean, just listen to the advice. Poor dad says, play it safe, don't take risks. And the big one, our home is our largest investment and our greatest asset.
And the rich dad, who taught the son for, 30 years? He said the exact opposite. He was insistent. Learn to manage risk, he'd say. And then the real shocker, my house is a liability, and if your house is your largest investment, you are in big trouble.
Wow. That just flips everything on its head immediately. So the deep dive isn't just about, making more money. It's about financial education, the stuff the school system just completely misses.
Right. We're going to distill it down to the 6 main lessons that form the foundation of this whole philosophy.
Okay, so let's jump in. Lesson 1. This is the big one.
It is. Lesson 1. The rich don't work for money. They engineer their lives so that money works for them. The poor and middle class, well, they spend their lives working for a paycheck.
And the rich dad didn't just say this, right? He actually ran a kind of experiment on the kids. Tell us about that, the 10-cent test.
Yeah, it was a real-life course. He had the young boy work in one of his stores for just 10 cents an hour. I mean, a pittance. The job was boring. It was repetitive. It was designed to make him feel what most people feel every day.
That feeling of being trapped.
Exactly. And when the boy got fed up and wanted to quit, that's when the real lesson started. Rich dad offered him a raise. First to $1, then $2, then $5 an hour.
A raise as the trap.
Yeah.
That's so counterintuitive. Most of us would see that as the solution, not the problem.
Well, that was the whole point, is to show him how people's lives are controlled by 2 emotions: fear and greed. The fear of not having enough money, to pay the bills. That's what keeps you in the job.
And the greed.
The greed, or just the desire for nicer things, is what makes you take the raise and immediately increase your spending. And then you're right back where you started.
That's the rat race. You get a raise, you buy a bigger house or a new car, your expenses go up, and now you're even more afraid of losing your job.
Yeah.
You're just running faster on the same wheel.
Precisely. And this is why the sources make a really crucial distinction. Broke is temporary, but poor is eternal. Poverty is a mindset. It's thinking that more money will solve the problem when the real problem is financial illiteracy. Your emotions are driving your financial car, not your brain.
Okay, so escaping that trap requires financial literacy. That brings us to what the sources call the single most important rule.
This is the foundation for everything else. You have to know the difference between an asset and a liability, and the definition is incredibly simple.
Let's hear it.
An asset puts money in my pocket. A liability takes money out of my pocket. That's it.
It sounds almost too simple, but this is where most people get it wrong, right? Let's talk about the big one, the house. Why specifically is a home a liability by this definition?
Because you just have to follow the cash. Where is the money flowing? With the house you live in, the money flows out of your pocket every single month. You've got the mortgage, the property taxes, insurance, maintenance.
Repairs, utilities, it never ends.
It never ends. All of that is cash flowing out through your expense column.
But wait, hang on. What about appreciation? I mean, for a lot of people, the rising value of their home is their main source of net worth. Does that not count?
It's a potential capital gain, sure, but it doesn't change the immediate cash flow direction, and that's the key. Rich Dad's philosophy is that wealth is measured by cash flow, not by a market value that can go up and down. An asset pays you. Your house costs you.
That distinction is so critical. So the poor and middle class sink all their capital into this thing that's constantly draining their cash.
And that leads to 3 huge losses. First, loss of time. They spend 30 years paying it off. Second, loss of capital that could have been invested and compounding somewhere else. And third, and this is the most important one, loss of education.
What do you mean by that?
Since all their money is tied up in their house, they never learn to invest. They don't get experience. They don't learn how markets work. They're financially inactive.
So you can actually see this difference in a diagram, right? The 2 capital patterns.
Yeah, it's very visual. For the poor and middle class, Income from a job comes in at the top and flows straight down into expenses and liabilities. The car payment, the mortgage, credit cards. If that paycheck stops,
The whole thing collapses.
the whole thing collapses. For the rich, it's different. Their income is generated by their asset column, things like rental properties, stocks, businesses. That income flows over to cover their expenses.
Yeah, and the leftover money.
The leftover money gets reinvested right back into the asset column. So the asset column gets bigger, which generates even more income. It's a cycle. It's exponential growth. That's why the rich get richer. Their money is working for them.
Which brings us right to lesson 3. Mind your own business. This isn't about starting a company, is it?
Not necessarily. It's about distinguishing your profession from your business. Your profession is what you do to earn a paycheck. You could be a pilot, a chef, a doctor. Your business is building your asset column.
There's that famous McDonald's story that illustrates this perfectly.
Yes. Ray Kronock, the founder, was speaking to an MBA class, and he asked them, "What business am I in?" And of course, they all shouted, "Hamburgers."
And he said no.
He laughed and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, I am not in the hamburger business. My business is real estate." The hamburger business was just the way he sold real estate to his franchisees. The real wealth was owning the land under every single restaurant.
Wow. So he was focused on the asset, not the income from the job.
Exactly. The sources are really clear on what real assets are. We're talking about businesses that don't need you there, stocks, bonds, income-generating real estate, notes, royalties from intellectual property, things that produce income.
So the strategy isn't quit your job tomorrow. It's keep the job, keep that earned income flowing, but be disciplined about using it to buy assets.
That's the strategy. Every dollar you put into that asset column becomes like an employee.
An employee that works 24/7.
And never ask for a raise. That's financial freedom.
So once you start building that asset column, you have to protect it. This brings us to what a lot of people think of as the unfair advantage. Lesson 4, taxes.
It all starts with the history of taxes. Most people don't know that income tax in America and England was originally sold as a tax only on the rich, the Robin Hood theory.
Tax the rich to give to the poor.
Right. The masses voted for it because they thought it wouldn't affect them. But the rich are smart. They don't play by the same rules. They immediately found a legal way out.
And that escape route was?
The corporation. A corporation is just a legal structure, a file folder in an attorney's office. But it creates this legal body without a soul, and its key advantage is the sequence of cash flow.
Explain that sequence.
Okay, so an employee earns money, the government taxes it, and then you try to spend what's left. Earn, tax, spend.
ETS. Okay.
A corporation reverses that. The corporation earns money, it spends everything it legally can on expenses, and then it pays taxes on whatever is left over. Earn, spend, tax.
EST. So you're paying for things with pre-tax dollars instead of after-tax dollars. That's a huge difference.
It's a monumental difference. Things like business travel, meals, even parts of your education can become corporate expenses. And this is all perfectly legal. It's about knowing the rules of the game.
Which is why financial IQ is so important. It's not just one skill, is it? It's a combination of 4.
Yes, the 4 pillars. You need accounting, which is financial literacy, the ability to read numbers. You need investing, the science of making money. You need an understanding of market supply and demand.
And the 4th one provides the biggest advantage, law.
Law is what ties it all together. It's using the corporate structure and tax codes to your advantage. A great example is the 1031 exchange in real estate.
Can you just quickly explain what that is for anyone who doesn't know?
Sure. A 1031 exchange allows you to sell an investment property and roll all the proceeds into a new similar property without paying any capital gains tax.
So you can keep upgrading your assets and defer the taxes indefinitely.
Exactly. You're growing your wealth tax-free. And you see how all 4 pillars work together there. Accounting to know the numbers, investing to find the deal, markets to know when to sell, and law to defer the tax. That's financial intelligence in action.
Okay, so this is where it gets tricky. Because a lot of people can learn this stuff, they can read the books, but they still struggle. So we have to talk about the internal obstacles.
This is maybe the most important part. Knowledge isn't enough. It's about attitude. The sources list 5 main obstacles. The first is fear. The fear of losing money.
It's a real fear. Nobody wants to lose money.
Of course. But the difference is in the reaction. Winners aren't afraid of losing. For them, failure is an inspiration to learn. Losers are so terrified of failing that they avoid trying in the first place. It's like learning to ride a bike. You have to be willing to fall down.
Okay, what's the second obstacle? This one feels very current.
Cynicism. A cynic criticizes, but a winner analyzes. Self-doubt is incredibly expensive. It's that voice that says, oh, that'll never work. Or listening to your broke neighbor who tells you why your investment idea is bad. Cynicism paralyzes you.
And number 3 is laziness. But not in the way we usually think about it.
Right. The cure for this kind of laziness, Rich Dad said, is a little greed, a desire for better things. That desire should make you ask the question, how can I afford it? That question opens your mind to possibilities. The lazy response is, I can't afford it, which just shuts your brain down.
Then there are bad habits, specifically who you pay first.
It's a discipline issue. Most people pay their bills, the government, their credit cards first. They pay everyone else before themselves. And if there's anything left, maybe they save it.
And the rich do the opposite.
They pay themselves first. They put money into their asset column before a single bill gets paid. It's uncomfortable. It forces them to be creative and fiscally strong to figure out how to cover the rest.
And the last one is arrogance.
Arrogance is just ignorance plus ego. It's when you believe that what you don't know isn't important. If you're struggling in an area of your life, you need to find an expert and learn. True intelligence is being open to new ideas.
So really the takeaway is that the knowledge is useless without the emotional discipline to actually act on it.
That's the whole game. To summarize this entire deep dive, the difference between the rich, the poor, and the middle class, it all just boils down to the direction of their cash flow. That's it. It's not about how much you make. It's about how much you keep and how hard it works for you.
Which leads us back to that idea of choice. Every single dollar that comes into your hands gives you the power to choose your future.
Every dollar is a vote. You can vote to be rich, poor, or middle class. And financial freedom is just the process of converting your earned income, which is highly taxed, into passive and portfolio income, which is lightly taxed, as fast as you can.
So we'll leave you with a final thought to mull over. If money is truly just an idea, and the real skill is converting your work into assets that work for you, what one new financial skill, accounting, investing, markets, or law will you commit to mastering today to start building your own asset column?
That's your assignment.
We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.